Hello, this is the presentation of Article 12 from the Conference Data for Policy 2021. And the main idea of the paper is that data is essential for sustainability, governance, especially international global governance, and especially relating to voluntary sustainability standards that are very different and heterogeneously collected and administrated nowadays. And the suggestion is that DLT, the distributed ledger technology, is the better, is the suitable, the more useful technology to manage those data authorizations and create this possibility of using this data ethically. So essentially, data need to be done to structure better policies, especially relating to environment and social and environment and governance. Because, for example, United Nations Agenda 2030 agenda that created the 17 sustainability goals, has more than 232 indicators that need to be traced globally and upload from many municipalities in a way that can be searched and aggregated and cross-referenced uh, by other users globally. Imagine that without technology. So it's a need, is a pressing need. And it's also to the voluntary sustainability standards that now are very opaque, could benefit from this structure, this commercial structure that have an authorization of data more clearly established. And the paper shows one example that this can be used. The footprint of the mobile phones in São Paulo are shared with government to track pollution and justify policies on a daily basis, hourly controlled basis. So it's very useful, and in this case, it's a social benefit. So it doesn't have any limits that we need to assess. But in other cases, it's a blurred distinction between the rightful use of this data and the unethical one and even illegal. So, and for example, enabling this technology to have opaque profiling of people and rating in a way that impacts credit or or other informations that are needed to this citizen to have the daily basis necessities fulfilled. So, in the universe of regulations are increasing on daily. So, not only in are very asymmetrical. For example, Brazil has its own privacy regulation, its own constitutional rights about fundamental rights and human rights that are applicable to this use of data, and also the specific data protection regulations that are proliferating worldwide, and not only in Europe but also in Brazil. Brazil has its own GDPR. America has its own policy about that, and countries are developing their own. So this creates a universe of different public law regulations that are hard to implement and comply with. So if private infrastructure is created especially using the distributed ledger technology, the so-called blockchains, that are not very blockchain, but in a way that could give a transparency, enough transparency, accurate monitoring, and enable and permit auditing that would facilitate the compliance and with this stringent regulations, not only about data but also privacy, ethical uses in a very different ways, and also curtail the risks of the business to develop e-commerce solutions, IoT devices, artificial intelligence models, because the reputation of the company would be preserved. It would be part of this private and commercial infrastructure. Not it's not if this infrastructure would be created, it would be a commercial law. So the selling of data on a regular basis, not more with this uh, um, public law idea of protection. So you would facilitate the developing of these very needed solutions that the world need, especially in terms of sustainability implementation. And also, smart contracts in a layer of this DLT would enable the pricing of this data. So one of the critics of this use of this digital footprint, especially by phones, is that the big tech use this information without any sharing of benefits to the data subject that own that data. It's one author makes a comparison with extractivism of historical imperialistic times, because the metropolis would go to a colony and extract all the resources and give nothing back. It would be similar with this data without any compensation for the use of this asset that is the data itself. So if the structure in DLT would create the data subject would agree with the use of this data, and it could be created a token to pay for this data, and also even tax this transaction. So global taxation is a pressing topic, very needed as well, to tackle inequalities globally, and it would be a possibility to implement this with this infrastructure made with distributed ledger technology, especially with gains in sustainability assessment and policies. With this topic in mind. So, in a nutshell, that is what the paper brings to the conference. Thank you.